everybody for the last minute change. We had a leak over at the courthouse,
Yeah.
so thank you everybody for coming down here, even though it was a last minute thing. So good evening. Before we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, let's take a moment of silence for the 9 lives lost, those injured, and those still missing as a result of the UPS plane crash that occurred during the evening hours of Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Our heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with everybody affected by this tragic event. And with that, I ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Welcome to the town board meeting this Thursday evening, November 6, 2025. For those who are visiting for the first time, I'd like to introduce the board and town clerk. Present here tonight, we have Councilmember Brandon Glory, Councilmember Sandra Prigioni, next is Councilmember Kelly Rinaldi, to my left is Deputy Supervisor Teresa Luongo, to my right is Town Clerk Nicole Young, and next to her is Deputy Town Clerk Kelly Lopez. I'm Kate Luciani, the Town Supervisor, and thank you everybody for attending the Town Board meeting tonight. Before proceeding with the logistics of the public hearing for the 2026 preliminary budget, the first item on the agenda is to adopt the changes related to the General A Fund and B Fund for the 2026 budget. Can I have a motion and a second to adopt all the changes for the A Fund and B Fund from the 2026 tentative budget to the 2026 preliminary budget as discussed on the October 28, 2025 budget work session?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next, we'll consider a motion for the town board's approval of the new tax amount related to the Woodbury Public Library. Can I have a motion and a second to adopt all the changes to the A Fund and B Fund from the 2026 tentative budget to the 2026 preliminary budget as discussed on October 28, 2025 budget work session?
Make a motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, sorry. I gotta do that again, everybody. Can I have a motion and a second to adopt all the changes to the L Fund from the 2026 tentative budget for the 2026 preliminary budget as discussed on October 28, 2025 at the budget work session?
Sorry, make a motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, Nicole. We will proceed with the logistics of the public hearing for the 2026 budget. Nicole, please read the public hearing notice.
A public hearing tonight is being held to entertain comments for the town of Woodbury fiscal year 2026 preliminary budget. The public notice was printed in the Times Hill Record on October 30th, 2025, and the following comments will be received.
Thank you, Nicole. Does anybody from the public have any comments regarding the preliminary 2026 budget? I ask that anybody that goes up, if you can please write and print your name up there, so this way Nicole has it in her minutes. So anybody?
Good evening, everyone. I'm just gonna move some steps out of the way.
Are we on the mic's on?
It's on.
It's on?
Yeah.
It's, there we go, I'll talk loud, you can hear me.
this question is going to be to the board members, not you, Lorelei, because, less unexpended balances that you are able to take money, to get money to help offset the tax levy to the residents. Where can we find those funds? Like, how much is in the A fund, how much is in the police fund, and how much is total in the library fund? I used to foil the library fund, so I kinda know how much money they had ending from, December 2024. But where, cause like, originally when you put the budget out, it was $650,000 from the A fund. Then the one meeting it went up to $850, and now went up to $950,000 to offset the taxes to be raised. I'm just curious, how did you start with $650 and go to $950,000, excuse me, I mean, I guess that's money that's, Desiree, what's the account name called, fund balance, appropriations, what is unappropriated funds, thank you, I always get that wrong. How much does the board tell the residents that they have in the A fund, or the general fund?
Lorelei, would you like to answer that, or do you need a microphone, or?
Was I specifically excluded?
Well, I didn't think that, you do the budget, is what I understand, but I'm trying to figure out, maybe Eileen knows the answer, Sutherland, who's the account clerk. How much money does the town of Woodbury have in their general fund that they were able to pull $950,000?
So if you're,
Lorelei has all the numbers. You're asking what the total balance.
What
what's in the fund before we took it out,
Yes,
is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay, I don't know what the totals are, you have the totals, but I know.
I do have the balance, I have the balance of, at the end of 2024, Maria. And the reason we don't have the 2025 year has not been completed. So we don't have the total picture of all the revenues coming in and all the expenses going out. So I don't have a 2025 number for you. But when I do the budget, I make an estimate after a long review and looking at the expenses and how much we can bring over. So when I did the tentative, I asked if 650,000 was doable. And when we were starting those tentative budget, that's back in September. As we move forward, now we're in October, early November, we realize we can probably bring over more. And that's how the number went up to 950, but I do have the balance in the A fund, the B or the police fund, the refuse, I do have the balance in the funds, if that's going to answer your question also. But I work with everybody to come up with the information, and I'm very conservative in September, how much to move over, and then we realize we can move over more.
And you have been for years, so I understand what you do, but, so at the end of 2024, December 31st, 2024,
The A fund has 4,372,237.
and the B fund,
3,891,278.
and I know I don't know if you have the library, cause that fluctuates, that I do understand, cause the last I knew,
Right, there's different variables for the library.
last I knew, cause I think it was this year, they transferred, it's an approximate number, $325,000 into their
Reserve.
capital fund, thank you, Sandy. And then, cause I knew back in June or whenever I foiled the numbers, I'm thinking that they would have had about $325,000 left over. I don't have the exact numbers, I forgot to pull them tonight. And out of that 325, let's say it is 325, and you take the 80,000 that they're putting into offset the taxes to be raised by the public. There's this extra money that this board, which I understand, cannot touch that money. Because once there's leftover money from their budget, it has to go into their fund balance. And because of the New York State education law. And I was here for the meeting when the library was here, and it was stated quite clearly by two of the board members the two of the people that were here representing the library. They're refusing, you may not have been in the room when they said this, to give any more money than the $80,000, because they want to transfer an additional $150,000 to that $325, because they have a benchmark of $500,000 to get grants. So they're refusing, and they both sat here. I don't know if you were still in the room or not, if you were upstairs at the executive session. That bothered me tremendously, because over the years, we're paying taxes, and they're always between $125,000 to $150,000 left over, and they get to put it in their fund because of the state law. That infuriates me because we can't touch it, they have control over it, and for them, the two ladies to sit here to say to my face, while we were here talking about it, we are not budging and giving it any more than the $80,000. That you, the board, had to come up with some kind of a decision when you went up into your executive session. That's when you raised from $850,000 to $950,000 to offset the budget, so you wouldn't impact the residents as much. I understand all these numbers, and I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers out, I apologize to the audience. But that is totally infuriating, that we the people who pay our taxes, and as well as you all do, and they overestimate their budget year after year after year, and we can't stop it, because they have control over it.
Can I just say something, Maria?
Sure.
I will agree with you, I have been on this board now, this is going to my fourth year.
Yep.
And, and I've done the budgets with them, and I've seen that. I will say that last year, I did say to them, spend the money, and we'll up, the amount that we give you. And this year, we went into the back, into the executive session, and I looked over the numbers, and they have spent the money. And if we didn't give them that money, they would not be able to continue to run the library the way that they needed to. They have always, we gave them the levy, we tell them this is the amount, and then they have to offset it with their amount. When it came to this year, they not only used what we gave them, but they've also used what they used to put in there. So I felt it would be irresponsible on our part to not be able to have a library be able to run the way that it should be able to run productively if we didn't put in the rest of that money. So therefore, I felt more comfortable because I had said to them year after year after year, if you spend the money, then, we'll be able to bring up the tax levy for you. And now it was at a point where we had to make a decision that either we want the library to be productive and to run productive for the community. And so therefore, to me, I felt that it was important to do that. So, I understand what you're saying because I have seen it, but this is this year, they did. They were like right on the nose. And when they're gonna end up this year, they're gonna end up using all the money that they had. So,
But what the director said, we weren't in the room, I'm gonna treat my budget like a business, I'm gonna spend every last cent. And they were given $663,000 of our tax dollars. And instead of keeping that extra money to roll it over for future use, that's uncalled for. That was rude of her to say that, she's gonna run this as a business, this is a municipality, they're two different animals.
and I don't think she meant it that way. I
Well,
think
she
she meant.
you weren't in the room when she said that to us.
I think she meant because we had said that they haven't hired people to work for them throughout the years, and she said she would make sure that they were fully staffed to the way that they're supposed to be. She is a new director, and so I think when she said she will make sure that every dollar is spent, was meaning she's going to hire the people that she needs to hire, get the things that she needs to get for the library that hasn't been bought through the years, and that's what I think that she meant in her statement, in every dollar will be spent, is every dollar will be spent to continue to allow the library to be productive.
Well, the thing of it is, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that notices this, on Saturdays, whether they have 1, 2 people working in Central Valley, there's usually one car in that parking lot. It's very rarely used. I decorate the senior center library building at all different times, and I check it. We were there for Saturday for 3 hours. This past Saturday, before Halloween. For 3 hours we were there. Do you know how many people came into the library and they say the library is so busy and they need all these personnel to work? I think it
Have
was,
you ever checked when they had events going on? Have you ever gone down when they had events for children
it's the same.
and for adults? I'm
Of
not
course,
coming out, I'm
of
just
course,
asking the
Of
question.
course, I see it, but those events cost us money.
I agree with that.
I'm not gonna argue with that one.
I agree.
And these events, I don't mind paying $5 or $10 if it's gonna cost $25 a person. It's gotta stop
They
somewhere
don't
with the
charge for
library.
anything, Maria.
Excuse me?
They don't charge for any of their events.
What I'm saying is
Any of
I
their
would prefer
classes, any
to,
of their programs.
I would
They don't
prefer
charge
to
for
pay,
anything.
I would prefer to pay a stipend to offset what it actually costs the library to have these functions. As a senior who goes to the senior center, if there's an event going on, the town pays for it because it's in their budget. But at times they will ask for $5 or $10 to offset that cost, so the residents who don't go,
The only time that we ask the seniors to pay for anything is if they're going to the Brownstone or they're going somewhere else that they have to pay into. But if we have an event happening at the senior center, a barbecue, anything like this, we do not ask the seniors to pay for money.
yes,
So what
you
you're
do.
saying
I've
is,
been there, done that, so don't say no. It's never, it has happened. It has happened.
and I found out what happened and it was happening wrong. You know, people should have never been taking money from our seniors
here's
because it
my-
was
my-
paid through by the town.
All right, I'm not gonna go back and forth with everyone, but my point being, whether it's a senior citizen event, whether it's a children's event, or an adult event, I don't mind putting $5 or $10 towards it so that the rest of the taxpayers, the 8,000 people there, are not paying for me to go free to the senior center or to go for these events. There has to be a cost cutoff somewhere.
Some people don't have money, Maria.
Well, then those are the people we take care of, Kate.
But
Those
how
are
do we make the difference? How
The
do we say
seniors-
you don't have money but you do
The
and you
senior
pay and
center
you don't?
knows who needs help, the library knows people who need help, and it's done quietly.
So we can't
I've-
tell the
I've taken-
library.
I don't feel
Alright,
that.
listen, I'm not gonna go back, let me speak,
It's gonna
alright?
be a long night if this
All right.
is gonna continue.
Excuse me, I'm gonna be here all night?
I said it's going to be a long night if this continues.
That's right, and as a resident, I have the right to stand up here
I'm not
and to
saying
make
that you are,
comments.
Maria, I'm just saying, you brought up two things, is there anything else with the budget that you need to bring up?
I'll go line by line, okay, let's go to the refuse line.
Okay.
My understanding, at the time for this year, Clara, you have a person who works in your office and the refuse. There was a 60-40 split, I believe the number was. And in looking at the budget for the refuse, I question why it went down so much. And as it was explained to me, Clara's gonna be 100% in the accountant's office. And I asked, why are you leaving $22,000 for personnel service? Oh, we're going to hire a part-time person to take over for refuse. So you're actually gonna be hiring another person because now you're taking Clara away from being refuse for next year. That's a problem also, because now you have 4 women upstairs, who are taking care of 3 full-timers for the accountant and part-time with Clara doing the 2 jobs. So now you're hiring another person and it's gonna cost with all the insurance, social security, the health insurance, almost $30,000 for another new part-time person. That's troublesome. And she tried to explain why it was being done. Then you have salaries, well, tax levy to be raised tonight, according to this summary preliminary for 2026, without the Monroe Fire District, it's gonna be $13,803,950. Last year, it was $12,306,492. I'm showing that to be a 12 to 12.5% increase. Can someone confirm that number for me? And what? I think I did multiply it correctly.
So there's different ways to do the calculations. Give me 1 second, Lorraine.
No problem.
I'll get it. Thank you. Maria,
Yes, ma'am.
we're over the tax cap 8.7% for the calculations by department, or I did some examples. So the increase in the taxes from 2025 to 2026, using our equalization rate of 27.48 for a house assessed at about 120,000, which is about 437 market value, will go up about $234. So I think working in dollars and cents, that's what I've calculated out. That's for a house in Woodbury using the services of the town, the police, the library, refuse, sewer, and water. I have another example for, our houses in Woodbury, same, obviously the same equalization rate, 27.48. Market value is about 437, using the services of the town, which is the general fund, police, library, refuse, this time water, is gonna be about $236.22. One of the other examples that I did would be a house that doesn't have all the services such as the water and the sewer. So their, town, police, library, and the refuse, those services, no water and sewer, they would go up about $236.57. So I'm using that in dollars and cents. I gave you what we're over the tax cap, which was about 8.7, but when that's one way to calculate it. When I calculated it a different way, looking at, our equalization rate and our assessed values, I gave you the dollars and cents for the houses.
Thank you. Having sat through all three sessions, how it's being quibbled about whether someone's gonna get $22, $23, $25 an hour, I forget what the budget was reduced. And then it went into, I think, $1,400 or $1,600. Then this board went into the buildings and grounds budget. It took away $60,000 for any expenses for either repairs or purchase anything, reduced it down to $3,600. And I understand it was a hard decision. But if something breaks down in buildings and grounds, I would hope then that the 2026 less unexpended appropriation balance, you're gonna be able to purchase something if something dies down there. And in retrospect of all this, budget was cut. And to be fiscally responsible, and I'm sorry to say this, whether it's a 4% or a 5% pay increase, don't take it. And I'm sorry to say to people who here working hard for 6 months out of the year, 12 months out of the year. You meet twice a month with the town board, and the justices are each getting an additional 4% raise of 1,700. They each make, and they're both working attorneys. And they are justices in other villages or towns, $45,000 each. When is it going to stop? I know we're a busy town, but these two gentlemen, they have a thriving business, and they do represent other towns and villages as justices. Somewhere, somehow, we are getting squeezed out of our town with taxes. And if it's only gonna be $234, you're saying, it could be. But that's based on, you said a $120,000 assessment value. There are homes in this town that are 3 times that amount. So they're looking at anywhere from $900 to $1,100 increase, if I'm looking at these numbers. So to say one person, one property at $120,000 assessed, and the value is $437, it's gonna be hard for all of us. And I'm sorry if I took up too much of the time of the board in my problems and my questions.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Maria.
Anybody else in that back row? The row above that? Middle row, I should say. Front row?
Jackie Hernandez, Highland Mills. I just wanted to, there are a couple of things that I just wanted to address. The first is on the work session that was held with the library, a couple of weeks ago. You mentioned that, those of us that were there, there was an executive session. There was actually 2 executive sessions that were taken. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because those executive sessions were taken, I don't want to use the word illegally, but they were not taken correctly. Executive sessions are typically taken when you want to talk about employees, health benefits, lawsuits, things in which they're confidential. But when you come to a work session where you're going over a budget, those conversations are what's supposed to be privy to the public. So those executive sessions were not only illegal, but what was discussed and what was agreed upon were also illegal. And I reference you to the Open Meetings Law, Article 7, Session 105, where conducting executive sessions, it goes through what are the appropriate things that should be done. So today, when we're discussing the budget for the library, it wasn't very clear who voted for that or who agreed to it. I've been going into the executive session, which was just a private session. It was not a legal executive session. It was understood that Sandy and Teresa were in support of the increase for the library. When we came out, it wasn't very clear to us in the audience. I think when we looked at the video, Kelly and Brandon they looked very upset by it. But it wasn't, there was no actual roll call to see who agreed with it or not. And as far as taking fund balance in an executive session that was illegal, the whole process was done incorrectly. So my ask, looking at this budget, is that the board would take a moment, not make a decision, and to really consider what the community is talking about right now, to increase that budget. As far as conversations about if the library board wants to go to a referendum and they want to, have the community, vote on a budget for the library. I think the board should, seriously consider allowing them to take this budget that they're asking you for and allow them to go to the people, the community for referendum. I think everyone in this community would say wholeheartedly that it's very hard times. We know that the nation right now, there is a stall on approving the budget for the nation, and people are really in tight times, and we don't really know how long that's gonna last. And so, you know, I thank Brandon and Kelly for standing up for those areas, because I think as a community, when we look at the library itself, the library is asking for a significant increase. There are other areas in the departments, for example, the maintenance for the Parks Department. For me, I'm very concerned that we're looking at only $3,000 for maintenance of all the buildings. I know that he was originally at 65, and I know it was decreased. I understand that there's reasons for that, but when we're looking at the next year, we can't really predict what's going to fall apart, what's going to be maintained. And so to think of such an increase, over 100,000 to go to the library for programs, when we're looking at just logistically the maintenance of our town and municipality, I really think that the board has to take a step back and look at what are going to be the critical things that we need versus the things that we want. The library could want a lot of programs. I think the Parks Department wants, they have a $20,000, $21,000 budget, right? What is the budget that the library has to do programming, right? When we talk about one budget over the other and their ability to do things for free versus not, we have to compare apples to apples, right? If they have a larger budget, obviously they'll be able to do things for free. But when we're looking at what we want and what we need, I think the board as a whole needs to really consider, when you're looking at these numbers, do we need to increase the library to that? Or can we allow the library to go to the community and ask the community to do a referendum and let the community decide, right? Very similar, right, to the pool from a couple of years ago, right? There was a lot of argument about it, and then it said, you know what? If they want to be a free library and the community is okay with it, then go for it. If they want a budget, then let the community decide and let them speak on it. But I've had a discussion when you guys went into your meeting with Beth Zumas, and my issue was, the library would not be perceived as being underhanded if every year we didn't see an excess of $100,000 going into their fund balance, right? So when you're looking at every year, and this is what I said, and she understood, at least when I was in office, that was the case. I know Frank Palermo was attacked for, supposedly forcing them to take money from their budget, but at that time, it was understood, and there was an auditor from Comptroller's office that came down and said, hey, their budget is higher than what it should be. Right, so when we're talking about, I know it's dying on me, when we're talking about, why they were forced to do that, when we talk about why they were encouraged to take money out their budget if they wanted more, the town board is responsible for the tax levy that represents the community. From that time, the library constantly allowed a significant amount of money. We allowed for budget lines for new staff. Those lines were never filled. And it was every year there was some other reason as to why they were not able to push that money over. So, where they were able to push over a significant amount of money. So my conversation with Beth Zumas was, if you're going to ask the town board and the community to trust you, then you should be transparent about what your intentions are and go to the community and ask them. You want to build a new and better library, then that should be a project separate that gets presented to the community, that gets voted on by the community with plans. I said, when have there ever been a meeting in all my time, and I haven't seen in the past boards, when has there ever been a meeting that presents and says a community meeting where you present multiple meetings allowing the public to talk about increasing or improving the library, right? There's been no transparency as far as what is the intention. And my feeling is most people want to support the library, but when you feel that every year there's a significant amount of money going back into the balance, back into the L fund, then you gotta question years of this. It's no longer about it being under budget. It's about there's an intention. And in the same conversation that we were having, while you guys, in the same conversation, like,
Sorry,
and three, take three. It's on. We need So the point that I want to make, because obviously the mic's telling me my time's up. The point that I want to make is this: is the library kind of put itself in this situation, and the library has done this for years. I've been through it. I know you guys have seen it. It was done right before they met with you. A significant amount of money was put in. My feeling is that if we have a conversation with the library and we meet with them and we say, hey, this is a project, I don't think anyone would not support a project that is done independent of the budget, especially when you're looking at, maybe rebuilding or expanding services, maybe there's additional services that we can provide. I don't think anyone would be against it. I think right now, to do something like this would hurt the community, because right now, and I'm sure anyone who was walking knew this, that taxes was the biggest issue. So I would ask the board to just reconsider this, maybe allow this to go to referendum, let the community vote on a budget that they agree with, and let the library go to the community for this project so that they can vote on a bond, they can vote on something that will allow the community to be a part of it and to have this as a separate situation. But I do ask that you go back to those areas that are significant to, like, maintenance.
So can I
That's
just,
a big one.
can I just answer you, and so this way we can stop, some of the misinformation that was given out? So with the repairs, for the buildings, we actually have budgeted $105,000. So I think the thing that you guys are confusing is the equipment that we took out. So there was equipment that they had already had for, it was a rake and a vehicle that they had asked for, and the rake we already had for at the pool. They wanted like a second one also for the res. It was duplicate kind of things. At this point, I felt that was unnecessary to get two of the same things when they can use it. So to cut taxes, we took that out. We also took out a vehicle. So that's where that cut was. When it comes to the repairs of the building, we do have $105,000 in that budget. We also budgeted right now, because the pool, we're gonna have to finish the pool. So we started putting money away for that to make sure to plan for future years. That's like 10 to 15 years off. But we put money to the side of it. We thought very well and hard about that. We wouldn't leave any of our buildings without being taken care of. We did not cut our budget down to $6,000 for the building. So I just want you to be aware of that we do have that. We also have blacktop, and as to you saying about the library, that things have been rolled over, we have had very large blacktop in each year that hasn't been used because we've been lucky and we've gotten grants where we didn't have to use all that money, and that money has been rolled over year after year after year. So right now we have $195,000 in our account for blacktopping. So our way of putting money back into the account was to take that, because of the fact that we have grants. We have $30,000 for this year, and then we have some money. Joey said that he would come back to me with actual bids of what we need the blacktop for, and the rest of the money that's not being used is gonna go back into the general fund, because we've seen the same thing for years. Big, huge bills for blacktop, Blacktop hasn't been used because we were lucky to get the grants and the help from the highway department, so that hasn't been used and utilized. So it's not that we're taking from the building and grounds, it's we're looking at where things haven't been used, like you said, as the library. However, this year with the library, they have used what they had. And it would not be right for us as a town board not to allow them to continue on the path. I agree with you, if they wanna go to a referendum, yes, but however, the election just happened, so they can't do that right now. So it is on our responsibility as a town board to make sure that they can still keep their doors open, they can still have children come in, they can still have programs that they need. We are gonna give them the budget that they want. As for next year, if they would like to go to a referendum, that's wonderful. And I would love for the whole entire community to come out instead of 5 people on this board making a decision for an entire community. I would love for that to happen because it is a big responsibility and you want everybody to have their say. But as of now, it would not be in the best interest of the community for us to make a decision to shut down a department or to have them not be able to have adequate staffing or books or programs for the children or for adults. So these are the decisions that we made. Our parks are gonna continue going on the way that they need. Our buildings are still gonna be repaired the way that they need. We did everything we possibly could. We spent several hours going over our entire budget. We looked at what we could cut, what we can do, and I mean, last year, nobody on this board, no elected official took a raise, and for us to turn around and then tell, the tax collector, the town clerk, the justices that they're not getting a raise once again, it wasn't right when everybody else is. And I understand what everybody's saying, but this is how we felt. These were the things that we needed to do, the decisions that we needed to make, and,
So, and not to interrupt you, but typically for a public hearing, it's really just us voicing our opinions to you, right? And I understand what you're saying, but again, going to maintenance, if you have equipment falling apart, if you have anything fall apart,
Right.
if you have one of the lawnmowers fall apart, $3,000 is not gonna cover it. So I get what you're saying, maybe it was a misuse of words, but maintenance, any equipment used for maintenance, same concept. And as far as the library is concerned, like I said, if they spent it down, was there any money transferred to the ELF fund this year? There was no money transferred?
no, wait, yes, sorry.
How much money was transferred to the ELF fund this year by the library?
80,000. Is that what you're
Where
saying?
No, I'm talking about like from this budget.
Oh.
How much money, was there any money transferred from their budget to their ELF fund or to any other budget?
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about, the ELF fund. So the library, did the library transfer any money to their ELF fund this year?
Are you referring to the reserve possibly?
That's
To the
it.
reserve, okay, thank you so
That's
much
what I
for the clarification.
Thank you.
The reserve now has 475,000 in it,
Okay, so how much was transferred this year?
475,000,
Okay,
between January, February, and then recently.
okay. So was that the budget they were supposed to use this year?
The library, the ELF fund, the library presented we do worksheets in July. They work through their budget numbers in August. We have meetings in September and then work sessions and evening meetings in October. They presented their own budget. We can't control their expenses.
Right.
The only thing is the tax levy, and the revenues are by calculation, research, seeing what the historical information is. So I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
Sure.
They selected the amount of expenditures, how much their
For
expenses
the
were gonna
new-
be for 2026. They were not touched. As presented, that's what appears in this budget, as the library requested.
Right. I'm talking about the budget that was presented in 2024 to 2025.
How much did that budget go up from 24 to 25?
It's under $2,000. The expenses,
Under $2,000, their budget went up.
well, I have 24 to 25. I have modifications. So from the budget for 2025 was approximately 899,000. The budget for 2026 is approximately 901, which is under $2,000. Eileen is now showing me the 2024, because you asked for the 2024 also, right? That was 903,055.
Okay. So as far as the tax levy that was initially approved by the board and what is currently approved by the board, how much is the total tax levy that would be covered by the town board for the library's budget?
So the library tax levy for 2026 is 772,344. Is that the question you're asking me?
How
That's
mu-
their tax levy.
Okay.
The library appropriated by vote by their meeting and submitted to us 80,000 for appropriated fund balance.
Correct.
And
And how much was the town board taking from the appropriated? So as far as the fund that you're covering now, you're talking about the 2026 budget.
Right, we're here for the 2026
Right.
budget.
So I was just asking for the 2025 budget. What was finished? What did the library cover? So you said that everybody spent all the money in the 2025 budget, and they're saying they need to increase the budget for 2026.
Not sure if I understand the question correctly, but the library the 2025 adopted budget, what the library appropriated was 177,038.
That's
That-
it. That's it.
okay.
Thank you.
That's,
All right. So thank you.
you're welcome.
Maria,
She's
this
asking
woman
if
would like to
would
go.
it be okay if I just go?
Oh, sure, you have the baby? Come on up. I'll put the mic on for you. Need help holding the baby?
Need to tell Maria your name so she can write it down for you, please.
Okay, hold on, let me. L-I-S-S-E-T-O-S-S-E. 1 T. Jackie, I'll put your name on here.
It's on. I'm Lisette Raphael from Highland House. I don't usually come to any of these meetings because I have a child with lots of needs. So I'm here tonight. I took both of my boys out because everybody has a struggle, but you don't truly see what their in-house struggles is. I have medical bills, I have expenditure, college, many things. So for me, any little tax increase does affect me to the point that what happens if I don't pay my taxes? What will happen to the future of my children? I will get kicked out, right? They will not have a home. So I'm asking you guys, consider the people, the little people, the people with needs in our disabilities, the people who are currently not getting a paycheck or possibly not having food in their fridge. Consider those people also when you're making your decisions. Because not everybody, even though at the outside might seem okay, but inside, they're struggling. Okay? Even though we're in a middle class, guess what? That middle class right now is struggling. There is no overtime. The city's constricted. Whatever little job, between me and my husband, we work in 4 different jobs just to be able to afford medical bills and provide a home for our children. So yes, for me, a $200 increase does hurt me. And that's why I'm here, to be a voice for my children. I'm a first generation, my children are first generation Americans. I'm an immigrant. I'm trying to build the American dream, which I think I am. I bought a home in Woodbury, and I plan to stay there, here, and give it to them. Create generational wealth. How can I do all of these things if every time I turn around, there's an increase, either for necessities or wants? That's what we gotta think about. Is this a want or is this a need? Out of my 10 years living here, I have used the library 3 times. I cannot definitely use it now because I don't know if there's programs for children with disabilities. And there's not many programs in Woodbury. And I'm okay with that because I don't expect the town to pay for his anything type of program. It's not the town's job to pay for his disability. And it's not my job to pay for other people's entertainments and things like that. It's not. If I want my child to go to a special program, whether it's reading a book or do something, guess what? The $10 upfront cost is not gonna be much. But at least I know I'm willing to pay for it, because I'm choosing to go there. I'm choosing to do these activities. And it's wonderful that we have these activities for our children in this town, but it shouldn't be at the expense of everybody. Because some of us don't use it at all. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make a statement that my duty as a library coordinator, I'm not against the library, and I want that to be clearly understood. I'll be right. As Lisette just said, we have to worry about everybody. And I just want, when this board was very gracious, this board was very gracious to the library at the second meeting, you gave them a 4% increase.
Absolutely.
And I even told you that was a very gracious attempt to have them have their budget and to come within means to use their reserves. Whether you heard me say that or not, and then when you came back after that after your discussion, you came back, I can't find the page now, I'm sorry, it's a little upset. It was an increase of the tax levy, a little over 16%. That's what hurts. All the other departments, you've asked them to keep it under 2%. I know I cut mine is the smallest, one of the second smallest budget. I cut mine by 2.5%. Because 2/3 of our beautification budget comes from rental, and the other third comes from taxpayer dollars. So I cut where I could. Other departments, they looked at the budget, and Kelly, I know you fought very hard, because you said we all have to come down, and we have to cut somewhere, and to be more responsible. The library does help, but to go back to it, I would prefer to see just one library, one building, put everyone together, and you can be open on Sundays then. Because the library is not open on Sundays, and that's when your parents could go to the library. But when you were up in your meeting, the new director stated that the town was against the library. And that was a very misleading comment from her. The town residents are not against the library functioning. It's the way the costs are, and a lot of people don't realize that library director, I think, is the only town employee that you can control. The library board of trustees controls the budget, and they're people that they hire that you can't hire, because that's what they do. When that new director came in, she said she was a director. If she was a town employee, why didn't you hire her, and why did you not appoint her? This is the difference that I've talked to many people. I wasn't walking to campaign with anyone this year, but people come to me. The seniors, every time I come visit them, why? Maria, explain these things to me. I've been here long enough to understand the budget and how we go, but the library is a ticking bomb with me, because I've seen it since when Frank Palermo asked them for the money and they went berserk. Because it is in dollars. And I understand what you're all saying, but we have to, I'm just upset from Lisette being here. This is the people that we have to help. And that's why I say, when we say we go to Crockers, not Crockers, we go to Brownstone, I only pay part of it, the town pays the difference, so I do pay for some of my events that I go to. So don't ever, I have to pay extra money just to tip the bus driver, because you don't pay for it. Think of that, so don't ever say that residents don't pay for services.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is if it's happening at the senior center, it's covered. But if it's somewhere that's outside the senior center, you pay towards it. So if it's happening at the library, it's covered, is what I'm stating.
Ray Hernandez, Holly Mills, New York. Good evening, everyone. I happened to be at the budget meeting when you guys were doing your discussion with the library. And I was the one that videotaped it, streamed it live to a community page. Kelly. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Don't kill me,
I hope
Ray.
you're doing good.
I'm already done. Don't kill me.
We all witnessed who was there, personally, and everyone in the community watching video witnessed how upset you was when the library was asking for more money. And your exact words were, I ain't giving them any more money. Nothing personal. Those are your exact words. Mr. Kalari, how you doing, sir? Good. You too. You sounded very upset, and you also echoed the words that you did not want to give any more money to the library. Then someone on your board called for an illegal executive session, and you guys went into executive session when you guys weren't supposed to. The discussion was supposed to be in front of the public. So my question to both of you, what happened in that executive session that when you came back out to me and to many other residents, you guys looked defeated?
Well, Ray,
And you guys seemed like you illegally passed whatever you guys decided to give to the library in executive session. So share with us.
I'm a little confused because when Jackie was up there, we were told not to go back and forth, that there was public comment. And now we're being asked questions, so I just wanna know which one are we doing here?
Well, you could refuse to answer my question.
Listen, we went in and despite our disagreements that we might have when we talk and when we confer with each other, we do it respectfully. We don't come out and, put it out in the business. And I quite clearly remember in last year's budget, we took multiple executive sessions in order to discuss certain lines and certain budgets. Almost the same town board did. So it wasn't a problem then, but I guess it's a problem now. But, when we go back, we talk about what the problems are, where we disagree, and we come to some agreement. I'm a big fan of negotiation. It's one of my favorite things to do. And we go back and we air out our grievances, like the Festivus for the rest of us, and we talk it out. We might not be happy, but that's the best way to negotiate. You always have, it's a good negotiation when both parties come out not happy about it.
Right. So it's fair to say, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's fair to say that you agreed to give the library a 16.3% increase.
I agreed to let the library operate, which was needed for them to keep their doors open as Supervisor Luciano already started.
So is that a yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Mrs. Kelly? Oh, Miss Kelly, I'm sorry.
I understand the percentage very well. This is my first year. I don't know if this is working. This is my first year and my last, doing this. And when I received the budget book, I looked till 4 o'clock in the morning, almost every other day. I looked at every single number for every single department. And my eyes were like, forget about it, because the money going through left and right it's very expensive for things to run in this town. So, you know, when I went through it with a fine tooth comb, and I looked at every single department and wrote down, we can cut this a little, we can cut this a little, we can cut this a little, we need to put the money in here, you know? I was one of them that, yes, I did wanna cut in the library, because I see all this money coming in, and I'm like, how is this? Like, how are they getting all this money? And we don't get any of this back if they don't use it. And that's because I didn't understand, you know, and when I sat down and spoke with the supervisor, you know, and to you, you know, I got a better understanding of it. Not that I was happy about it, because I wasn't, because it's a lot of money. You know, I'm a taxpayer too. I'm a single mom. I got 2 kids. One's going to college. I don't know where I'm getting the money for that. You know, I'm working 2 jobs here, and at my other job, I'm not happy about that either.
Right.
But, you know, we do the best we can, and we try to cut where we can. It's not always the right move. Nobody's perfect, you know, but we gotta cut some places, you know, and did I agree on this? Listen, it's just like Brandon said, you know, not all the time are we gonna agree on the same thing. We're gonna have differences, and that's why there's this many people on the board.
Right.
And I'm sure going forward, it's gonna be the same way.
Right.
There's gonna be 3 more people on the board and other people on the board, and they're not gonna agree. But at some point, you have to act like an adult and say, okay, you know, where can we come to the middle and agree like adults and do the best thing that we can for this town at the moment? And that's what we did.
So you went from a very irate, they ain't getting a dime, to then you being talked to for 10 minutes and coming back out and agreeing to giving the library a 16.3% raise on their budget.
I most certainly
Am
did.
am I correct?
You're very 100% correct. But the fact remains is, we had to do what we had to do, or the library would close. So when the board originally made our decisions, and, you know, where some of us didn't wanna have that budget raised, and some of us wanted to take the money back, when we sat down and we had that discussion, we really saw the money and where it was going and how it could destroy if we didn't give this certain amount of percentage for this year. And then we had to make a decision. Would that have been the same decision for next year? No, we probably would have turned things way around. But unfortunately, this year is where it needed to be. Thank you.
And then my last statement, with,
Yeah, just to
With-
say, it was an hour, not 10 minutes.
we wanted, you guys were not in executive session for
No,
now.
we got it
We
here.
have the minutes right here.
Second, for the second one, 7:18,
But,
back in equal.
moving forward, that night we never got to witness your discussion, and we never got to witness a vote. So, with that said, it was mentioned tonight that the budget is gonna go, it's gonna be an increase by 8%. Do you guys think it's right for you guys to give yourselves, well, the supervisor, this will be your second raise?
I'm not the
Since you've been-
supervisor
since you've
anymore,
been-
so.
You are.
You
I
are?
am.
Okay,
Okay, but the raise doesn't start till January 1st.
So it
So-
affects the
You're on
next supervisor.
until January 1st.
Yeah,
But-
well,
but
so
let
that
me
is for the
finish.
next person who walks into
But let me
office,
finish,
not
please.
for me.
Let me finish, please. This is the second raise you've given yourself in 2 years.
I didn't give myself a raise, we reinstated the pay,
And-
and you were
and you-
there, and
and
you
you
actually
gave-
spoke in,
Right.
Let the person
And you
speak.
gave yourself a little bump, but do you guys honestly think that it's gonna go well with this community where you guys are gonna give yourselves a raise when you're asking for an 8% increase in the budget? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I would consider for you guys, I would ask or request to reconsider you guys giving yourself any raises until we stay below the 2% cap. And then you guys can give yourselves a raise. But it's really unfair to ask the community for a 4 or 5% raise when you're raising our taxes 8%. That's just not right.
May I
Thank
just
you.
have a moment, please? To answer your question or your statement, please?
Sure.
On our B fund, the police, 89% of the expenses in this budget are mandated. They're out of our control. They are mandated, 89% on the B fund. And on our A funds, 75% are mandated, whether it be insurance,
That means you can't change it.
No, I understand. I understand.
So we're over the 2% before we even start this budget.
Right.
So
But-
just to let you know
Right,
that
but
we're
the
not,
issue
we're
here
not
is
sitting here
giving
driving it up
yourselves-
8%.
The issue here is giving yourselves a raise. We have
Okay.
a problem with that.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Nicole would like to say something.
I would like to say something on specifically my employees, I guess. I'm out there struggling too, just like everybody else. I work full-time here. I'm always with Kate, supervisor, I'm always there for any of the council members. So it does hit me a little hard when people bring up any of the reasons, just like Kelly said, she's a single mom, she's going to college, well, you know, whatever. So am I. I don't announce that, but so am I. You know, so we're also struggling too. It's not about giving a raise, it's what did you say in the budget session? It's to, the cost of living has gone up. Is that were your words, right? You have to offset the cost of living to live here.
Yeah. I'm a town supervisor and everybody knows my salary, it's put out there. People will keep saying that I gave myself a raise, right? You and Jackie both came up and spoke for me for when John Burke cut the salary because of his pension. We reinstated, Tom Burke, I keep saying John because John was great, God bless his soul. We reinstated the pay, and what we did was reinstated it with the 4% that was left off from that year. Didn't give myself a bump, we increased it to what it was and what it should have been. And as for this board, I mean, we are so far behind when it comes to any person, clerk, tax assessor, people here, so far behind because for years and years and years we had someone like John Kirk who didn't take a raise because he also was a principal who had a pension and didn't take a raise. And so now you look at town supervisors in other communities, and I'm the lowest paid town supervisor. I'm a single mom. I don't, put that out there as much as people want to say I do on social media. I don't. I own my own house. I pay taxes. When taxes go up, it impacts me. When I didn't get a raise last year because we all collectively decided not to take a raise, when those taxes went up, my taxes went up. And I have to pay those taxes. But my income doesn't go up. So this year, we said that we weren't going to do it. And it's not just for me because Jackie is now taking the position for next year. It is for the next person in line. And even if Jackie doesn't want to take it, she knows that even if she doesn't take it and somebody else gets it the following year, they're starting behind because of where we're at. The fact is, people, cost of living goes up. Everything goes up. Retirement goes up. Taxes go up, the medical insurance. It happens to all of us, and I can understand what that woman was talking about with her child. I have a child with special needs. I have 5 children in my house, I have to put food on my table too. But I don't put that on anybody else. But when it comes to understanding the taxes, I get it. We all get it. We sit here and we go over it. It's not something we want to do. We come out already above the 2%. Already. Because of the retirement. Before anything. So people looking at 8%, the fact that we walked in with at 23% when this whole budget started, and we all sat there, like Kelly said, till 4 o'clock in the morning, going over every single day, going over with markers, having several meetings, seeing where we can cut, seeing what we could take out, doing everything that we possibly could for the taxpayers to come from 23% to go down to 8% to me is major. It is major. And, our sales tax went down, obviously, you know, and like, I'm not blaming it on anybody, that's, you know, they have the right, but the fact is, we already had that. If you look at our percentage on how much our sales tax was from last year to this year, had that sales tax not gone over to the village, we would be at the 2%. So that's just it, and like, you know, I'm not trying to play the blame game, but those are the facts. We have it. It's right here, you know, so I think this board has done an incredible job, given the hand that we were dealt with and what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's not something that we go to bed lightly with. It's something that is heavily on us. And you know, so I'm sorry, but, you know.
Go ahead, Martha.
Before I read my statement, before I read my statement, I just wanna say, Kelly, I disagree with you because I watched that video since I wasn't able to go attend that meeting, that board meeting, the budget meeting. I watched that video and you came out of that second session irate, angry, and you went at them and you said, I did not agree to give that to you. So I disagree with what your recollection is, because that did not happen. You did not go back in there and in an hour change your view. You came out just as adamant, and so did you, Brandon. Both of you were adamant that you did not agree. So to come back to now state, okay, wait, I'm still speaking. So to say.
Excuse me.
No, excuse me,
No, excuse
okay,
me.
so
Who are
to say that you came back, that's misleading. That is misleading. And one thing that I wanna make clear is that I will always stand here and I will always stand on truth. I will always stand on truth, right? So I just wanna make sure that I point that out. That maybe your recollection of it is wrong, but you came out and you were adamant and you disagreed and you said you did not agree with it.
Okay, so,
Okay.
you're right, I didn't agree with it,
Right.
okay? But
Right, I
as
know
a-
you didn't.
But, as a board, when I came out, I was more disgusted at the librarians that we were talking
I know
to,
you
how
were.
they were coming across to us, okay? I was very upset over that, absolutely. But like I said it straight out, because I do tell the truth, Martha. I specifically said, I don't agree with this. However, as a board, we have to come together and make a decision, and that's what we did.
Right.
Thank you.
That's not what you stated though, so I just wanted to clarify that. So anyway,
Let's move on.
yes, good evening. My name is Martha Lopez, Highland Mills. I want to express several concerns about this year's proposed budget and how it reflects the priorities of our town. First, I'm very troubled by the decision to take $4,000 away from special programs for the Parks Department and reduce funding for the parks and buildings and grounds, while giving the library 16% increase. Special programs already struggles to cover the cost of the community events and activities they offer. And when we do ask the community for money, we have the president of the library board come out and criticize the Parks Department for asking for money, because we cannot, with the mere money that we have, the small budget that we have, we cannot accommodate all of the programming that we want to offer. So because of limited funding, they often have to ask participants to help pay for some of these programs. And now that burden will continue. These are the programs that bring our community together, especially for families and children, and they deserve to be supported, not diminished. I want to be clear. I understand the importance of the library and the role it plays in our community. But according to the library's own numbers, they serve 12,000 people a year. You know how many people we serve in the Parks Department? Over 30,000. And that's annually, not counting walkers, pickleball players, or families who use the sensory park. So I have to ask, why such a large increase for the library?
while other departments that service far more residents, particularly Parks Department, and a department responsible for maintenance and repair of all of our buildings, grounds, and equipment, are seeing cuts or minimal increases. You've cut the line that would replace any large pieces of equipment and only allocated $3,500, which begs the question, if a piece of machinery or a boiler needs to be replaced at any of our locations, where will that money come from? Additionally, nearly everyone in the Buildings and Grounds Department received a raise and a step up. Yet one employee who often goes above and beyond when asked to help and has been with the town for over 10 years was denied a step up and a raise, despite it being budgeted. I don't know why, and I know you probably cannot speak about those issues here, but I'm not in agreement with that. Someone that's been here for 10 years should be rewarded, should not be taken away that step up. I also need to ask why the step ups for that department were given in September instead of January, effectively creating a double increase within a few months. Each member of that department is deserving of what they received, and I have tremendous respect for each and every one of those guys in the Buildings and Grounds. They work hard, save taxpayers an incredible amount of money by doing work in-house, and they keep our town running smoothly. My concern is not about their raises. It's about the fairness, morale, consistency in how these allocations were handled. I also need to address a statement made by which Maria also mentioned at the last library budget meeting by Kathleen, the library director, who said she would make sure she spends all the money allocated to the library this year to show the need for more money. That statement was heard by everyone in that room, except the board members, because they were not there. So they cannot speak for her, they cannot speak on her behalf, and assume to know what she meant by that statement. I find it very concerning. At a time when many in our community are struggling, like the woman that was here prior, many are struggling, saying something like that is out of touch with the residents who actually fund the library. Instead of working collaboratively with the community, that approach feels wasteful, especially since the library has reportedly built up reserves or funds that they are not being asked to use. I also have questions about the financial management of the library over the last few months. How much money was taken out of the general fund and for what purpose? The library has pulled significant amounts from its personnel services line in the last two meetings. Why? If that line was inflated by at least $27,000, how is that allowed to happen? By calculating the library's payroll, it's about probably less than this, but I'm padding it a little bit, $450,000 a year, which includes health insurance, I believe, and retirement. Now with this increase, they'll receive an additional $450,000, right, about, annually, bringing their total spending to roughly about $11,000 a week after paying for payroll and insurance and retirement. That's a staggering amount at a time when many families in our community are struggling to afford food and can't even buy a pizza for dinner. It's a price tag that we will never be able to recover, even if they don't spend that money, because as you know, unspent funds allocated to the library are never returned to the tax base and can sit in an account indefinitely. You know their numbers are inflated, yet you give in to them, so I have to ask, what exactly is that money going, where is that money going to be spent on? What is it going to be spent on? Do you even know? At the last budget meeting, I was glad to see Kelly and Brandon vote against the increase. But I was disappointed to see Kate so quickly bend to their request. At the end of the day, this comes down to priorities and fairness. Why is only one department being taken care of, while all others are kept at 2% or below? Our community deserves transparency, balance, responsible decision-making, not favoritism towards one department at the expense of others that serve more people and provide essential services every day.
Thank you. And, just for the people, since you decided to call out people in the Parks Department, everybody in the Parks Department gets a raise. It's due to their union contract. These were title changes.
Everyone
You know,
got it but one.
when I was an office manager, I started off in a company, right, and I was a staffer assistant. Within a few months, I became a staffer. Within a few months, I became an assistant office manager. And then after that, I became an office manager because they saw the quality of my work and they brought me up. So we had 3 guys that worked for us. One of them was supposed to be hired as a mechanic and never got that title changed. It was something that when I came in, started working with the union to make sure he got that title that he deserved to have.
Like, and he did
Then-
deserve it.
Then there was another person that worked there who's been working for years, and I felt that he deserved the senior groundskeeper title change because of what he has shown me and what he does. He's at every single job, he takes down notes, he knows everything, he is standing right beside Joey's side, and he knows everything, and he is going to be the next person to step in that line. And I felt that it was important. I spoke with the union rep, and then we have another person that was a superintendent of highway who came in with a lot of expertise, and I felt he deserved a title change. These were not steps and grades, these were not giving people bonuses or raises. These were called title changes to put them in the categories of where I felt that they all deserved. And
In
that
September?
one, yeah, because this had gone on for a long time, talking with the union rep about exactly how to do it, how to make sure. We wanted to make sure that the pools were closed at that time, so the overtime wasn't there, and this is exactly how we arranged it. And yes, we did, we gave it to them in
I know
September.
you did. That wasn't very
And
responsible.
Whether you feel it's responsible or
Right.
not, I feel that when I look at the value of somebody who works for me,
Mhm.
and they do a job that's really well, they deserve to get the credit and the title change that they deserve. So you don't have to agree with my responsibility.
As a taxpayer, I don't.
When you sit on this board, you can make whatever
Yeah.
decisions that you would like. But I sat there and I've worked with every single one of my departments, and I've seen the quality of each of my workers. And like I said, each person gets a raise, a 4% raise, and he was not the only person who did not get a title
I
change.
didn't say he wasn't, I
There-
said he was there 10 years
There-
and he didn't
But
get.
there are other people too, and when people show me the quality of their work, and when I can't make a title change for somebody if I don't see that. I saw other people and the quality of their work, and I felt that this is where they deserve to be. And that's the decision I made with the board and the union rep.
Can I say something?
No, go up to the mic. Say your name. I'm right here.
Good evening, Dan Lutz. So this is unorthodox of me. I usually sit in the back and say nothing. So I'm gonna just kind of put myself out there. We're all one community and we all need to kind of stick together. It's an extension of our own families. We're the family of Woodbury. I have friends on both sides of the aisle. I try to get along with everyone. In regard to their pace raise, I just want to say, it's not fair to even call it a raise, okay? This year, if I'm not mistaken, inflation is 3%. I could be wrong. I believe it's very close to that number. That being the case, it's a 1% raise, okay? If you take into consideration that they did not take a raise last year, they're behind. It's not a raise. Now, I don't want to be insensitive because everyone's situation is different. But I just want to say that they probably should get a raise. That's just my feeling. As I say, it's not a raise. They're really behind when you really do the math. also, and again, I'm putting myself out there, I'm not up to speed on all the town politics as I should be. I'm confused because it seems like Kelly was working very hard to try to keep prices in line with the library, as well as Brandon. And again, I don't know the ins and outs of the library and what's going on there, so but just from an outsider looking in, she was a person who's trying to keep things in line, and she's taking a lot of criticism. That's what I see. Maybe I'm looking at it from the wrong lens. That's what I see. Again, I like everybody. I welcome the new board that's coming in. Everybody's got to kind of get along and try to work it out. I think what Brandon said about negotiating. I don't know if it was supposed to be done in the public, so the public could have seen it. That may very well have been an issue. But of course, you have 5 people there. They have to discuss points of view and reach a happy medium somewhere. So I wouldn't be too harsh on them. Maybe I'm looking at it from a different view, but, and again, I think a 4% raise is appropriate for them, in light of the fact that the other workers also received it. That's my feeling. Don't shoot the messenger, but, that's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much for everybody and their comments. Nicole, were there any written comments received? Okay, can I get a motion and a second to close the public hearing for the 2026 preliminary budget?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Nicole, we'll now move on to the resolution.
Whereas the town clerk duly presented a tentative budget to the town board on September 25th, 2025, and whereas the town board held a series of public work sessions where it examined the budget and made adjustments to the tentative budget, and whereas the town board adopted the changes to the tentative budget made during those work sessions as a preliminary budget at the town board meeting on November 6th, 2025, and whereas a copy of the adopted preliminary budget is attached to this resolution as Exhibit A, and whereas a public hearing on the preliminary budget pursuant to Section 108 of the town law was held on November 6, 2025, at which the town board heard from the members of the public. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Woodbury that the preliminary budget is hereby adopted as the final budget for the town of Woodbury for the 2026 fiscal year pursuant to Section 109, subsection 2 of town law.
Thank you, Nicole. Can I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution as read?
Motion.
Second. Ooh.
Who was second?
Kelly and I. Kelly and I. Yeah. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nicole, can you please do a roll call?
Councilmember Corey?
Aye.
Councilmember Capugione?
Aye.
Councilmember Rinaldi?
Aye.
Councilmember Luongo? Aye. Supervisor Luciani?
Aye. Thank you. Now we will open the floor for public comments on agenda items only. We're starting the meeting. First row. Sorry, Maria. That's right.
Anyone in the first row got agenda items?
Second row. All right, Maria, jump right in there.
Maria Hunter, I'm speaking
Good
as
to see you.
chairperson of the beautification committee. I noticed that on tonight's agenda, administrative item F of resignation was listed for the beautification committee. Unbeknownst to me, I wasn't contacted or advised of this. Upon seeing this, my process of elimination, since I know my committee members well, I reached out to the committee member No letter was or will be submitted to this board after I personally spoke with him. This committee member reached out to the supervisor Wednesday evening and stated after speaking with me that he would be staying until the end of his term in December. I don't understand why this volunteer committee member was asked to resign before his term expires on December 31st of this year. Neither myself nor our department head, Joe Gianzaro, knew about this, as far as I know. Asking any volunteer committee member to resign before their term is up without speaking to the committee chairperson or department head to appoint someone else is just wrong. We have had a vacancy since January 1st of this year that wasn't filled. Why the rush now? After interviews are done, historically, appointments are usually done at the second meeting in December to prepare for the annual reorganization meeting in January of the next year. I respectively, and I repeat this, I respectfully request as the beautification chairperson that item F be removed from tonight's agenda as it isn't needed. I also respectfully request as the beautification chairperson that item H be postponed until this board can meet with the department head, Joe Gianzaro, and myself to discuss appointments to the 2 upcoming seats to be filled. The person that I'm referring to, I'm not gonna state his name tonight. He's been a member, it'll be 7 years, the end of the year. He's a local businessman in this town. Whenever I needed something for the beautification committee or tree lighting, he was the first one there to donate monetarily at my request or the committee's request. And to do this to this gentleman and to not ask me or Joey, I'm appalled. I am upset and you should have seen me last night when I got through all my conversations. It's not right. I've been doing this since, how many years? I'm going on 25 years on this beautification committee, and I've never seen anything like this before. The communication and the lack of is horrendous. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Just to let you know that when we did interviews, we had 3 great people that came in. You were there at the interviews. You told me that we had 2 open seats, and you said we can pick a 3rd person since they were all great as an alternate. So when I was told by Nicole that there was only 1 open seat, I didn't understand that. So I went over the list of people that were on the beautification committee, and when I looked, I saw one of the members that I knew had moved. So I called him, and he had told me that he told you in March of this year that he wanted to resign because he had moved to North Carolina. He said that you asked him to stay on the board until December to finish out his term, and he said that was fine. I explained to them that we had done interviews, we had 3 great people, we were gonna put 2 people in that spot and 1 person as an alternate. He said, no problem, I'll send you my resignation letter. I said, that's wonderful. And I told him that it was coming up on the agenda. That is the conversation that I had with him. And then I didn't receive a letter, and then I got a text message from him saying that you had called him and asked him to stay on until December. And I questioned the fact that he doesn't live here anymore.
He does live here. He owns the home, or he lives in the home that he has his business. He has a second home in Pennsylvania, not North Carolina. He has family that he just drove up from yesterday, from North Carolina. I know him more than you do, Kate, because I've been with him longer.
Listen, I'm just telling you the conversation we had on the phone. He said that he had moved there, and I'm not gonna get into the specifics of what he told me as to why he hasn't been able to be back, but he did tell me that he told you in March he wanted to resign. He said that to me, and I didn't ask him. He said it to me, and us on the board were confused because when we put out for that, we were told that there were 2 open seats. And then all of a sudden, we find out that no, there's only 1, and then we're told that we have to wait until January, and we had 3 people, and I didn't understand, why would we do interviews? Why would we told to do interviews and then tell people that they can't get on until January? It didn't make any sense to me.
That evening, if I may continue that evening, and as you all know, that I had surgery prior, so I was not feeling 100%, that's why I was not there for the town board meeting. I've spoken to Ryan. He was going to, his term expires the end of this year. I asked him not to leave when he said, Maria, I have the second home. He has come to meetings since March. He's talked to me. He's been there.
That's not
Not
what he said.
everyone.
He told
But
me he
the
went to
thing-
one meeting this year, and it was in the beginning of the year, and he said he hasn't been to the meeting since.
But you don't know what he has done for the committee.
I'm just telling
Okay.
you, if somebody's
All right,
not
I'm not gonna
leaving-
debate you, Kate, but the thing being, the 3 people that were interviewed, yes, they were all great, and I did tell the board, and I know I wasn't crazy when I said this. I said, check with your attorney to see if we can have an alternate, because in our code book, there's no provision in the code book to have an alternate, and that would cause this board to spend money to have the code book law reviewed, posted, public hearing, and rechanged, and have the attorney costs. So this board, and what I'm concerned is, you put out in last year, October, whenever it was, for the seat that was vacated because Robert didn't go forward. I asked early spring, please put this out again. Wherever it went, no one came forward to fill that vacant seat. We made do without the 6 of us. And I've spoken with the two gentlemen that were interviewed. They've been extended to come and help if they are available when we decorate, take down, and do everything. To have an alternate, that puts out an even number. You should not have a even number committee. Because that
So can I ask, why would you speak to the 2 gentlemen but not the other person?
because I need help lifting, climbing, and the other person physically cannot do that. Okay, can that
I'm
person?
just saying, we did an interview for 3 people, why wouldn't we reach out to all of them and see what the other person is capable of?
Because I'm
It
in the
just-
season for November and December, and you know darn well, we decorate for Halloween, we decorate for Thanksgiving, and we decorate for the holidays.
Maria, I'm just saying,
Maria, you're not
you did,
discriminating against someone for their abilities or disabilities, are you?
I resent you saying that, and you know better,
I'm
because
just
you're
asking you a
condescending
question.
and you're rude to me,
I'm
and
just
I am
asking you a
not doing
question.
that. No, because she's already on a committee, and she's caused trouble for this beautification committee,
so,
and you know
so,
that.
so is that why you're holding up us being able to vote on
Negative,
people?
because only
Well,
one
that's,
seat,
because
only
it
one
doesn't
seat
make
is vacant.
sense to me that 2 seats were
But
open
the
and
thing
then all of a
is-
sudden,
But the thing of it
there
is,
wasn't.
Kate, you didn't have the courtesy. Hey, Maria, you did have the courtesy to tell me we were gonna meet here and not at the courthouse, or whatever, but you never called me. Joey didn't even know what was going on.
I
He didn't
looked
know this.
through and
Tonight's
it hit
agenda.
me and I said, this guy doesn't live here anymore. You
He
mentioned
lives
his
here-
name,
He's
I
here
didn't want.
now, he's home here.
Well, that's
He
not
came
what
up-
he told me, I spoke to him
Well,
on
you
the
know
phone.
what, Kate, maybe you didn't hear it correctly, or he didn't explain it correctly, I don't know. But I spoke with him. He was coming home to New York last night. That's
I have a question, Rory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Going, talking about the alternate, can you explain?
Can I explain whether an alternate's allowed?
Yes.
It would require some amendments to the code, but with the proper procedurally done, they'd absolutely be allowed. I'd also note, by matter of law, if a member of a committee is not domiciled in Woodbury, by matter of law, that position becomes vacant. So upon, listen, I'm not, this isn't directed at you, I work for the supervisor, not you.
I apologize.
You work for the town.
I work for the supervisor and the town board, and by way of that, the town. I'm not,
Our taxes pay you.
No,
don't
he's
I
we?
am-
not arguing.
I'm not-
Michelle, it's okay.
Rory,
He's
just
not-
stick to the-
no, he's not
I
arguing.
understand that by association, I'm gonna get attacked, I get it, right? I'm trying to answer a question that's being posed, and maybe lighten the room up a little bit. The reason that the supervisor asked me when we were talking about the alternates, and then by way of a conversation became aware or was under the impression that this unnamed person is not living in Woodbury, I advised her by law that position is immediately vacant, whether you want it to be or not. So it doesn't require a letter of resignation. So that's the 2 discussions going on. So I'm answering Teresa's question, sorry, Councilperson Luan, sorry. That yes, an alternate can be put in, but as you noted, that would require extra work on behalf of the attorney.
Yep.
And that's where it's at right now.
I-
So,
I-
and the alternate, also, you know, if there's only one vacancy, there's two vacancies, there was interviews with the impression that there were two vacancies. So I advise based on that information. So I don't know if there are two vacancies now.
There's, right now, currently, there is one vacancy,
Well,
because that person did not re-up
well,
last December.
I think that what should go on is that we should have a discussion with the person in question, and have them sign a disclosure statement where they live. That's an easy way to fix it, right? I mean, if they live here, then sign a statement saying you live here, because right now it's called into question based on a conversation.
If someone has a second home,
Right, but
okay?
there's a
and-
lot of people that do, but there's domiciled and there's residencies, right? So you can only be domiciled in one place.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he put an absentee ballot in, so I would
Well-
think this is his domicile.
I would hope so if you put an absentee ballot in. You might have just got him in trouble.
You know I'm gonna go back.
I know, because you got a
know
legal
that, but
background, I got
the
it.
thing was, he says, I'll be at your meeting tonight. I said, there's no beautification meeting tonight because it's a 6:30 budget hearing meeting tonight, Ryan, but I told him next week there's a meeting, the date and time. So, he's here. Now that everyone knows, it's Ryan, his first name is Ryan. But you could probably find his name on the website. But the thing of it is, excuse me?
Can we call him?
No, I think that's totally rude of you to call him tonight because it's after 8 o'clock and he is a businessman.
Just ask him a question.
And the
So-
thing of it is that the lack of communication. I'm glad that Kate spoke to Rory. But say, hey Maria, boom, 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 or Joey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're discussing. And after I saw the agenda, I'm like, okay, what is going on here? This seems like the multiple times that beautification committee is always questioned about something.
Maria, the reason it was on the agenda was because he told me he had told you he wanted to put in his letter of resignation in March. That's what he told me. And then, when I spoke to him on the phone and I told him we interviewed and we had 2 spots, he said, I will send you my letter of resignation. And then he texted me back and said you called him and asked him to stay on. So that is the conversation that happened. So that's why it was on the agenda.
Done. 25 years.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Matola, Highland Mills. Regarding the beautification committee, did you notify everybody that interviewed whether they're on it or not?
No, we weren't gonna give a vote until we were here.
So the person that you're appointing tonight has no idea they're being appointed, and the people that aren't don't know if they're not?
Yeah, because especially since all this came up, and then we thought we had 2 seats that we were doing it for, and then we weren't sure if we had 1 seat that was
But
coming up.
regardless, when I left with my son, you said we'll be in touch with him. We're here tonight, we haven't. I would hope he is not on the committee because of a disability. Think about it.
Thank you, Kathy. That's why I respectfully ask that no one get appointed tonight, because we don't usually do it till December.
Anybody else? Okay, next, we'll move on to acceptance of minutes. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the receipt of the minutes of the town board meeting held on October 16th, 2025?
Motion.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next, acceptance of work session minutes. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the receipt of the minutes on the town board 2026 budget work session held on October 7th, 2025?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the receipt of the minutes on the town board 2026 budget work session held on October 8th, 2025?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Mine and Kelly. Mr. Kelly. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the receipt of the minutes of the town board 2026 budget work session held on October 28th, 2025?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next, approval of abstract 20. Nicole, can you please read the abstract for this meeting?
Abstract 20 contains vouchers 251-845 through 251-969, totaling $210,680.95.
Thank you, Nicole. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the abstract 20 as read?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next, budget modifications to the 2025 budget. Nicole, can you please read the modifications submitted for the 2025 budget as prepared for this meeting? Got your ruler?
Yeah, I got my ruler, so bear with me, because we got a lot. Under attorney, we are increasing A 1420-402, attorney annexation, Seven Springs by 10,000, decreasing A 1420.400, attorney by 10,000. The consultant to the assessor, increasing A 1355.463, consultants by 5,000, decreasing A 1355.100, personal services by 5,000. Buildings and grounds, we are increasing A 1620-405, custodial supplies by 4,000. A 1620-449, alarms and maintenance by 250, and decreasing A 1620.415, JPB pool bathrooms by 4,000. A 1620-444, schools and dues by $250. For parks, we are increasing A 7110-463, chemicals pump maintenance by 2,500, and decreasing A 7110-417, field maintenance by 2,500. The Woodbury Common bid for the K-9, we are increasing SMB 3120.204, equipment K-9 maintenance by 1,500, and decreasing SMB 3120.200, equipment by 1,500. Central Telephone is increasing. Okay. Central Telephone increasing A 1650.401, Central Telephone by 2,220, and decreasing A 1980.400, MTA payroll tax by 2020. The Police Department B 3120.432, expenditure DEA forfeiture by $20,009.93, increasing B 0599, the appropriated fund balance by $20,009.93. For animal control, we are increasing A 3510-404 water bills by $450, A 3510-405 dog and cat supplies, non-food by $600, A 3510.431 vet fees and medications by $1,000, A 3510.469 food supplies by $800, and decreasing A 3510.202 equipment by $450, A 3510.403 heating oil by $1,600, and A 3510.453 vehicle gas oil repairs by $800.
Thank you, Nicole. Can I have a motion and second to approve the modifications to the 2025 budget as read and explained?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next is appointment for the Board of Assessment Review, R. Morello. Can I have a motion and second to appoint Rosemary Morello as the Board of Assessment Review member, which will be effective through December 30th, 2030?
Motion.
Oh, Booger. September.
Motion.
Second. Yeah, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Alright, so when it comes to the Park and Recreation Committee, I say that we table it until we have further discussions with this other person. Oh, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Okay, appointment for Parks and Recreation Committee. Can I have a motion and second to appoint Renee Mendez as Parks and Recreation Committee member to fill the vacant term, which will expire on December 31st, 2029?
Motion.
Second.
Brandon, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Now, as for the next few items, I say that we table it, if you guys don't mind, until we have further conversations to see if we're filling for one or two people, and we can get more information.
We have one position that we need to fill.
we do, is everybody willing to vote on that tonight? I feel like it would just be,
I think we should table it.
I think we should table it too.
I make a motion that we table it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. There's no old business, we'll move on to new business. Authorize the supervisor to sign the CBIZ renewal. Can I have a motion and a second to authorize myself to sign the CBIZ renewal agreement for the 2025 reporting services in the amount of $2,200?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next, authorize parade permit at 68 Jefferson Street. Can I have a motion and second for this board to authorize the approval of the parade permit for the resident located on 68 Jefferson Street, which will occur on November 13, 2025 between 4 and 7, and also waive their permit fee?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next is to authorize the supervisor to sign the Hack Murphy LLP. Can I have a motion, Can I have a motion and a second to authorize myself to sign the Hacker Murphy LLP agreement to undertake defense of the town of Woodbury with respect to the village of Kiris Joel, Woodbury Heights, index number EF 007425-2025, and to be billed at the rate of $385 per hour. Make a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Tonight, we have an extra item to add to schedule a public hearing for the LL5 refuse law. Can I have a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing for introductory local law number 5 for the mandatory refuse law to be held on Thursday, November 20th of 2025?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, now we'll move on to public comment. Does anybody from the public have anything they would like to say? We'll start with the first row. Middle row. Back row. Wow, okay. Department and board member comments. Maria?
Maria Hunter, the Education Committee. Thank you to the board for tabling those two items. A couple things are going on. Saturday, weather permitting, and you're having a work session, which our former member, Robert Angelo, is going to join us, because that's one of his favorite activities, is to check the 100+ volts on each utility pole decoration. So, weather permitting, we'll be at the highway garage at 9:30 with the committee. December 7th, the Highland Mills Fire Company Ladies Auxiliary, they're having the Peroni tree lighting starting at 5 o'clock on Peroni Circle. Basically the same venue as we've had in the past. DJ, lighting, a special visit on the fire truck from a special person that night. Beautification Committee has been purchasing Halloween decorations. We already started purchasing deers, holiday deers for Victory Park, because ours had to get replaced because they were damaged and old. Just like some of our members are. I'll speak for myself. I'm sorry. It's just been a long day. Like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years, so everything is. We decorated Victory Park with the Halloween flags. Those flags will be coming down during our work session. And Thanksgiving flags will be, bless you. Thanksgiving flags have been purchased. I have to sit with Joey. We have to order holiday flags for the month of December. An additional storage container has been ordered and purchased for the storage up at the reservoir. Grills are going to be purchased from the beautification committee, so even though we had money last month, it's being spent rapidly this month. And I try to give the deputy clerk the correct code. I forgot the number the other day. Like I said, some of us are getting older. Anything else with beautification? I think we're done, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's calling me? Teresa.
What time is the tree lighting?
It's supposed to be 5 o'clock, I think, between 5, it's either 5 or 5:30, I can't remember right now. It's on their Facebook page. It's the Highland Mills Fire Company Ladies Auxiliary. If you check, put them in, I don't know if the DJ's here or not. I don't know what time he's starting.
I kept him in that seat, DJ Vernick right there. I know, come on.
Is it start at 5?
I always set up like around 3 or 4.
Yeah, I know you do set up early.
You'll be there the night before.
I'll already be set up.
Vernick will be there at 2 o'clock, turning it up for everybody, so if anybody wants to. And he'll be staying till about 1 in the morning.
No, noisy. Noisy, but,
Come home.
yeah, the Highland Mills Ladies Auxiliary have graciously taken on this one event, so that's one less thing I have to worry about, so I am a participant with it, so it's 5 o'clock, thank you, it's on the Facebook page, so it starts at 5 o'clock.
Thank you. Martha, do you have anything? Joey?
We had 2 events in the last week. We had 2
The
events.
step stool's over there.
I got it last night too.
I told Teresa, I said they pushed your step stool aside.
I tell people I blame my mom. My mom was 5 foot nothing.
Love you, Joey.
We just had a couple things. We had our Halloween at the parks, which again, I want to thank all the volunteers. I think we had over 20 volunteers from Cornwall, Monroe, Woodbury. They did a great job as always scaring the kids. A lot of people came out from the community. I just want to thank everybody who was involved. So I'm going to not mention, I'll just say everybody because I'll forget somebody. The second one is just for the chamber. We had our trunk or treat, which again was a great thing. We had a lot of community involvement. I want to thank Rob for giving us the lights because that did make a difference at night, so everybody could see. And just so everybody knows that, K&K Catering, who lives on Jones Drive, all the proceeds, if you didn't see it, that he had that night went right to the food bank. So there's a guy that's, in the community. So, I don't know how much it is, but I know everything went over there. So I think that's, if you see the guy, if you see Omar around or his wife, thank him tremendously. And we do have some stuff coming up. Look on Facebook, look on our Constant Contact. I don't have all the dates crazy yet, but me and Martha will sit down, we'll figure everything out. So we have 3 or 4 more things coming up for the end of the year. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Joey. Chief Watson?
I'm good.
He's a very
I'm mentally exhausted from sitting next to Maria.
How do you think I feel?
She said if I said it, she'd pay me $100.
Do you have the $100?
Attorney Brady?
I'm good, thank you.
I'll get it from Bob.
Lorelai, do you have anything?
I do. I've tried to answer the questions from each and every one of you as presented tonight while I presented to you along with the town board our 2026 budget that's now been adopted. But I don't do this alone. I have tons of help, lots of helping hands, and I just want to acknowledge all of the people in this room that have spent endless hours helping me. It just doesn't happen overnight. And like I said, our process starts in July. Eileen, sitting here, acknowledges me every single day. I walk into the office, I have a chair next to her desk, and she is amazing. Every single day I walk in and she's there and has a chair for me. So a big thanks to Eileen. The other one in this room who also acknowledges me every single day is Nicole. I walk in, she's got a smile on her face, I ask her how she is, and she helps me with all my questions and concerns. Town board, you've been amazing. Kate has been there, Kelly, every single person has been there to help me. all of the department heads, Joey included, I just can't see you at the moment.
Oh, jeez, man.
Everybody on the third floor in the accounting office, and of course, our town council spends time speaking with me. So I wanted to acknowledge everybody and say thank you. It's not over tonight. I have tons of documents and paperwork to submit in Goshen. I have a lot of electronic copying and work that has to be transmitted. And all of this will go on behind the scenes, and the budget will be submitted by November 20th. So thank you very much to everybody.
17?
November 17th.
No, November 20th. November 20th. So, purpose of Mike is just to say a great big thank you to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorelei.
Always the best dressed. Tinkerbell, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just thank you, Lorelei, you as a board. I know you want to maintain services. We know we don't want taxes to go up, but, I mean, we're mandated with like 75% of the cost of the tax levy is mandated with the insurance, the health insurance, the retirement. Same thing with the B fund, it's like 89%, and trying to maintain a 2% cap is just impossible. We know what inflation is, and so thank you to you guys for wanting to maintain, not have, cut services. We could cut the pool, we could say, let's close the res. I don't think anybody wants that. So thank you everybody for doing the right thing. It's hard, but, yeah.
Thank you, Amy. All right, Councilmember Fleury.
What?
I was like, I didn't miss anything, did I? Got very quiet.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off a little heavy and then I'm light. I gotta say, I'm extremely proud of all the work that went into this budget. As mentioned before, when we first got the numbers, it was over 20%. And the fact of the matter is that we are at $1 million shortfall in our revenue. Okay? That's a fact. And you cannot just pull $1 million out of the air to fix something. It doesn't happen unless we just start charging for the simple things that you now get free. A lot of stuff is free in this town. We don't want to charge for that. But the bottom line is there was $1 million shortfall in revenue. I don't care if you agree with me or not, I really don't. But we made up for it. And the $1 million, we would have been at zero. When we did the numbers and we sat down and looked at the discrepancy between the revenue that was being generated and the money that was necessary to keep the services running, it was actually less by about $27,000. We would have been under zero. Under zero. Right? You can't just make up $1 million of revenue overnight. It doesn't happen. So I'm very proud of this board and the work that we did. Lorelei and Eileen and the rest of the team. And I just want to thank all of you. Now to get a little bit lighter. 2 days. Day after tomorrow is the polar plunge. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me talk about it for weeks. Saturday at the res, which is free and open to the public. Come on down and share with the people that are going in. I want to thank all the people that donated. Some of them are in this room, so thank you very much. We are 62%, almost 63% to our goal, having raised over $30,000 for that. And every single penny goes to the athletes here in Orange County. Not Dutchess, not Rockland, not Sullivan. Every dollar goes to the Special Olympics athletes right here in Orange County. So I'm looking forward. I've been taking lots of cold showers to get prepped and warmed up. Not warmed up, but cooled down for the plunge. I want to thank my teammates and again, everyone that donated. You still can donate. You know where to find me. Thank you.
Sure.
I am, just saying, if anyone else wants to join, come please do.
Oh, it starts at noon.
Sorry, I forgot that part. Starts at noon.
And now, Councilwoman Capriglione.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nicole distracted me.
Sorry.
She couldn't say your name right. Well, that's why I said it. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I also want to congratulate the members of the new town board that will take office in January. With that said, there was a comment made tonight that the town board meets twice a month. We do so much more than meet twice a month. I am liaison to several departments, as are the rest of the board, and I can tell you that I spend hours, probably on average between 10 to 20 hours a week on town board business, whether it's attending meetings, prepping, researching, you know, so it's a job that be ready to do. As far as the budget goes, I want to thank Eileen, who you guys are going to find out. She will answer any question that you have 24/7, almost 24/7. But it is such an amazing resource. So you know, just keep
Doing my job, that's it.
well, just keep
Above and beyond.
keep drinking that whatever you're drinking that's keeping you young.
Yeah. What's in that?
You never retire.
Iced tea, I don't drink.
And Lorelai, as usual, thank you for making us look so prepared and for the countless hours that you put in and countless more hours that you're gonna be putting in. Everybody knows my term will end at the end of the year. I will say that I will miss it, but I think that this is the way it should go. That, you know, there's people that care. I would like to think that we all care, and that's why we put ourselves out there. In all the time that I have been attending meetings and been involved in politics, unfortunately, I have never seen a race be so ugly. I'll just use that word. And I would hope that that will stop now, that the Facebook nonsense will stop, the derogatory remarks will stop, and that everybody will show each other some grace and some kindness and realize that, again, everybody that puts themselves out there, we're doing it because we love where we live. We may not agree on everything. Lord knows, my husband and I don't agree on everything. But, you know, at the end of the day, you have to be satisfied with the job that you've done. You have to be able to listen to everybody, and, you know, my heart broke for Lizette behind that podium tonight. I would love to say, I'll pay your taxes, and if I win the lottery, I would try, but it's just not that way. And when you sit in the seat and you listen to the department heads, and then you're faced with cutting. Everybody knows that Teresa and I were the library liaisons, and after looking since 2019, we were not, it is written in education law that we are supposed to, as a town board, fund the library adequately. Adequately is, you know, that can be left up to interpretation, but I feel proud of the job that we did for the library this year, because they were facing a dire situation, and nobody wants to see them close, and they have made the commitment that next year they will go out for the 414, which is bringing it to the public, and the public will vote on their budget, or on, excuse me, on their tax levy. I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, I thank everybody for coming out and voicing your opinion, and everybody get home safe and stay warm.
Thank you. Councilmember Rinaldi.
Lorelai and Eileen, thank you so much.
Can you hold on one second?
I'm sorry, missed that.
Alright, now start.
Lorelai and Eileen, thank you so much for everything. I greatly appreciate all the hard work that you did. You know, sitting next to you and watching how you really do all those numbers. it made my head spin many times. I don't know how you do it. I mean, you must have been a whiz in school. It just drove me crazy. But thank you so much for all your hard work. I greatly appreciate it. As for everything else, listen, I made my decisions as a board member, and I stand by them still. So you may not agree with me. Sorry about that. But I will say this, I'm looking forward to next year, sitting in those seats and doing the same thing.
I'll
So
save a
you
seat
know
for
I'll
you.
be here, Maria.
I'll save a seat
I'm gonna
for
be
you.
sitting right next to you.
You got it.
Yeah,
long as I don't have
I
to
definitely
sit.
want to see it.
You're gonna sit between the
And
two
I
of
want to
us.
see it without a building being closed down. That's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Supervisor Longo.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Again, I wanna, kind of reiterate what everyone else said, about Lorelai, Eileen, Nicole, anyone that was a huge part of the whole budget process. Took them a lot of hard work and time and probably a lot of sleep lost, I would imagine. So thank you so much, I appreciate all your guidance and advice, we definitely take that to heart. To the rest of the board too, we tried to do our best, like we said, it was at 20-something%, we brought it down to 8, I think that's great considering what we were up against. And yeah, I mean, we, for the most part, all get along, but don't be fooled that we don't have any disagreements, because we do, trust me, and respectfully, and that's what happens when you're a board. 5 people may have 5 different opinions, and by you putting your opinion out there, another person may have not seen it that way, and they may thank you for it, and they may not like it, but you still are willing to listen, and that's very important when you're up here, to be respectful, to listen to everyone, and sometimes you gotta agree to disagree, which is okay. I wanna say congrats to all who won the local elections here in Woodbury, those on the county level. To those who were unsuccessful, it takes a lot to put yourself out there just to choose to run or continue to run, several years in a row sometimes. It does take a lot to run for office, definitely need thick skin. Keep your, more than thick skin.
That's a little better.
You get used to it, don't worry. Keep your head up, don't ever give up, whatever, path you wanna choose, whether it's to run again, do something different with your life. Life always has a way of working itself out. Senior of the month is Susan Varana. So I'd like to congrats to Susan. If you don't know Susan, she's an amazing senior, just like all our seniors are at the senior center and in the community. Enjoy your special moment and your parking spot for the month. Veterans Day is Tuesday, so if you're around and able to attend, there's a ceremony at 11 a.m. at Discovery Church on Route 32. There's going to be a wreath laying at the Veterans Monument afterwards and a luncheon to follow at the Cemetery of the Highland Community Room. So let's honor all of our local veterans because they are truly heroes and super important. And that's it. Have a good night. Get home safely.
Thank you.
Can we acknowledge those people that are here tonight that are here, because I know there's 1 or 2 here that are here tonight, can we acknowledge them?
Sure. I may not know everyone's name, but if you're a veteran, would you please stand up, state your name, and anything else you would like to say? Sorry to put you on the spot.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll believe you.
Thank you for your service. Yeah, we do love you.
Yeah.
Oh, Lorelai, that's right.
Forget it. Yes. Everyone is great.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. To honor those who served our country. Very important.
Deputy Town Clerk Kelly Lopez, do you have anything?
Sorry.
Caught you a little off guard.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. I think I'm loud enough, but maybe not.
You are.
Is that Chuck? Of course. Don't worry, my comments for you. But I have a very deep place my heart for veterans, so thank you.
Joe, I'm very sorry for everyone picking on you tonight. Can you get back on my lawn now?
I love you, Joe. I feel your pain, Joey, don't worry. Me too. Nicole.
Town Clerk Nicole Young.
No, I just wanted to congratulate everyone that has won the recent election. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna go off of what everybody else said. Lorelai, you are incredible. I mean, you know, been on the board for 4 years, but never was really part of the budget process unless sitting here, you know. So being town supervisor last year, I was scared as hell, and you walked me through it. Sometimes you threw numbers at me, and I was like, hold up, you know. Because I feel like people who have minds with math think differently, and I'm a very visual person. But you took a lot of time, patience, explaining things to me, and I really appreciate it. Every day you came in with a different outfit that matched your shoes, which matched your name, which matched everything else.
And a matching cardigan.
You know, it
Yes.
was beautiful. And you're an incredible person. And you know Eileen, I call Eileen Tinkerbell because she has magic. Siri agrees.
It is silent.
You know, Eileen is an incredible asset to our town. You know, from the moment that I stepped into the office, you know, she not only is great with her numbers and moving things around, she's just an incredible person with a lot of history. Any questions that I have, did this happen back in this day? Did this happen? She can tell me everything that happened. She can give me the history of it. And, you know, I just thank the both of you for this budget process. I felt so good. It was totally different than last year. I didn't feel as, you know, like I'm squirming around, you know. You took the times going along with all the budget meetings and taking the time in the office to go over things with me, asking me any questions. Lorelai would run in the middle of the day if I called her and I was like, wait a minute, I'm freaking out, what does this mean? And she would just, I'll be there in a few minutes, and sure enough, she was there. She had her daughter's beautiful wedding in between, and even with it, you know, she was still on top of this entire budget, making sure that every deadline was met. And, you know, I cannot thank you guys enough for everything that you did and all the guidance that you gave us, because without you, you know, I mean, I don't, well, and the board, you know, sorry guys.
We all want everybody to succeed.
Yeah, and just like everybody said, sleepless nights, you know, it was very difficult, you know, and, you know, it's extremely hard sitting in this position, feeling that you have the weight of the town on your shoulders, and thinking about all the people that it's gonna impact, and how it's gonna affect them, how it's gonna affect your own home, what can I cut, what am I taking away, what might we need, what might pop up, you know, and we have to plan accordingly. We can't take too much out of the fund balance. You know, I found myself in a position last year where, you know, past supervisors were taking out of the fund balance and taking out of the fund balance to keep it under the 2%. Made them look great, but guess what? Our fund balance was being depleted, our cookie jar was empty. It was being emptied. And so I had to make a very difficult choice to raise taxes in the community to make sure that we didn't put ourselves in a position where if we didn't get the grant for the dam, that we wouldn't have no money to be able to pay for that, you know? And these are difficult decisions that people don't understand until you're sitting in this position. And we don't wanna put that on the taxpayers, we don't wanna make it difficult, but these are some decisions that we have to make. And, you know, I thank everybody because, you know, I was so proud. I mean, Lorelai knows, I literally was dancing in the office when we found out that we went from 23 to 8%. To me, it was a huge feat, you know, to be able to do that and not really have to cut that many services here in the community. And I felt so happy and so proud. And, you know, like Brandon said, you know, had we had not lost that sales tax, it might have been a lot different, you know, but still, I felt very grateful and happy that we were where we were, that the police services were not cut, our parks were not cut, anything, everything can still be. And I understand that it affects people, it affects us all, it affects me, you know, personally and everybody else. And I also want to congratulate everybody, you know, I've reached out to some, DJ Burnick, I told you better be spinning the first meeting, you know. You know, we've always had a great relationship, you're a good person, you have a great heart, great soul. And, you know, I wish everybody who won the best, you know. I talked to you, Jackie, you know, we'll be meeting next week and going over everything and projects, you know, that we have underway. And, you know, I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. I have, you know, tons and tons of grants that we have been working on and projects that I wanna see through. I love our community, I love our town, and I will still be all around and visiting our seniors, so, I just wanna congratulate everybody and exactly what, you know, Sandy and everybody else said. I truly and honestly hope that the nastiness ends. I wish that people could put past the fear issues and the things to divide us and realize that everybody, it is really extremely hard to step up to the plate and to do something like this. And if you keep doing things like that, if things keep happening like that, the good people will not step up. Because people will say, it's not worth my health, it's not worth my family, it's not worth my time. You know, and what these people on the board make is nothing. And for somebody to say, you come to 2 meetings a month, that is not it. They are on the phone all the time with me. You know, we're going through emails, we're going to meetings, we're going to Association of Towns, we're going to everywhere. And we're not just dealing with things in Woodbury, we're dealing with things in our entire county that impact us. You know, those grants, $6.3 million that this board brought in since I was on as a town supervisor. That is not a little feat. That is huge. And that is because we worked across party lines with congressmen, assembly people, senators, everybody to bring that money into the community. And we worked very, very hard so this way it wouldn't burden the taxpayers. You know, and that it's a lot of work. And to be paid the amount that they get paid and then be literally have things said about them on social media, called a sellout, things like that, when they're fighting for everybody, it's not fair. And when these people, the good people, decide that they see what's happening on social media and say, I don't want to step up because I don't want to be the next person to be ripped apart. I don't want my family talked about like that. I don't want things being made up about us like that. Who's going to be left to step up to the plate? So I ask that everybody think about that and, you know, treat the next board that sits up here with respect and don't do the things that happened because all it does is divide us. And right now we have to come together. Our nation is in turmoil and, you know, I really hope that people think about that and think about how you treat each other. So with that, can I have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.